30-second, what do you think of Detective, because you played with it?
Detective from Ignacy and Portal Games is, no joke, the best mystery detective deduction game I have ever played.
First up, I'm going to talk about the one that was my highlight of the whole expo. This was my favorite game I got to play in the whole expo, and that is Detective, a modern crime board game.
The big hit of the show for me was Detective. That is the new investigative team game, cooperative game from Ignacy Trocek.
Now, I know you really like the history part.
No, I do, and I'm also a big fan of those crime dramas like Blue Bloods and CSI New York and Las Vegas and Miami and all those other kinds of things, and NCIS. So I enjoy that genre of TV shows. And so this was intriguing to me at least.
Yes.
The added benefit of it being strongly connected to actual historical events, that's even better for me, because especially the time of history it came from. So it was just really cool in that aspect. I think it really does a good job of making me feel like I'm doing detective work.
And we were just tracking this case, and it was just thoroughly immersive. It was stunning. I'm amazed just how interface you felt like you were in CSI.
You were putting together a whiteboard.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That people were using today. And
they are using it all day today. Yes.
I talked to Emerson Matsuishi, who came by and played. He said they were using the whiteboard like you see on TV in police rooms. They were writing up facts and putting stickies on there.
Yeah,
and
post-it notes.
And linking clues together.
That's super fun.
And the fact that this game can actually cultivate that is just fantastic.
Yeah, so it's, like you said at the beginning, it's not about what's in the box or the game board, it's what's happening outside of it.
You need to concentrate, you need to be on the ball, you need to be talking with each other. This is not for a game club night. You need to invite people around your house, you know, and have a TV, have the PC there, you know, and have the peace and quiet.
There's a lot of back and forth between us talking about what we've discovered, going over what we've plotted out, you know, and it's got a really nice combination, I think, of the intangible, this idea of talking about what happened, putting together the big picture.
The three of us and my wife Melanie, and we were just heads down into it, talking on the computer, Googling things, throwing around just different theories of what was going on. It felt like we were in CSI or Law and Order or any of those shows. It just felt like we were those characters figuring out all these mysteries. It was amazing.
We had one person going over a thing of cards, another player was taking all of these notes.
And we took a lot of notes.
A lot of notes, pages, literally pages of notes. I was on the computer, actually plugged into the website. I was entering in evidence, and I was looking at like soil samples and other things, letters we discovered, interrogations and everything. And while you were working on the cards, I went over and I was like looking at one file, looking up another record. I was just like, guys, I found a correlation between these two files. Did we ever notice this? These are linked, and it was great.
There's an app, I guess, online that'll be available, and you track your evidence, and you track your suspects, and there's bios, and there's all kinds of cool stuff.
Desktop is not a gimmick, it works well, it makes you feel like one of those CSI Miami shows, you know, with the overarching conspiracy theory plot.
Uses a computer interface. You actually use a computer with a web page, but this thing doesn't kind of feel like it's shoehorned in. It's not invasive, it's not in there, it's not taking the game over. It's a tool.
You need to check the internet for certain clues that will help you come to conclusions on certain things. So that was pretty cool. That had not been done before. I really liked that.
Cool in nature.
That's what I thought was amazing. We got into this story, and there was a little Wi-Fi symbol. Go look this up. And it was one of those moments, the very first one.
Jamie was reading.
Yeah. He was looking up everything on the internet, because the card was telling the story, and it mentioned this thing. And it's like, well, that's kind of
we have to be very vague here.
Yeah. But it was this thing that was integral to the plot, but it was kind of like this fantastical kind of thing that had happened in history. Well, that's a neat little thing that a piece of fiction you wrote, and that little Wi-Fi symbol. So we go to Google and we look this up, and we realize that's a real thing that actually happened in history. That's now part of this story this narrative we're weaving. It was amazing tying that together.
And it was important to know that piece of history, because some of that helped us resolve some of the clues that we had found.
Yes, dates and times that things happened in actual real history actually correlated to dates and times events were happening in the game.
Solid, simple mechanisms. You have 4 days. Each day has this many working hours. Spend time, move locations. You went past, take stress tokens. You want to call it a day? Fine. It's tomorrow. Start the day over. I like that. I chance that you're going to like it. Because what it does well.
Yeah, it does very well.
It's like a step up with electronics from Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Right, but with structure. You know, has structure.
There's much more structure to it. And a lot more information too.
Stunningly brilliant. Really, really fantastic. Anyone who likes Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, this is a better version of that in my opinion. Or any of those sort of investigative sort of group sort of efforts where you're tracking a crime down or going through this thing and you're brilliant. I can't say any more. I will rave about it, but yeah, it's stunning, a stunning achievement.
Yeah, we played the actual whole first case of the game, and it was probably, it's definitely one of the best experiences we've had with, certainly with investigation games, but a really, really standout one just in board games in general. It was, as I said, we were all involved, all constantly talking, you know, questioning each other, throwing out theories and things. It felt like a real investigation.
This was my highlight. This was my favorite game of the expo, bar none. I cannot wait to see this out. If I get a chance to pre-order it, I will. Whew. Detective and Modern Crime board game. This has the potential to hit big.
I care about the 3 hours. I think it was a great 3 hours spent.
It was.
So I mean, it's one thing. I'll look at time if it was a drudge. If at the end of that I was like, finally this game is over. Okay, yeah, now we need to talk about time. But if it's like, hey, I didn't feel it at all. This was a great experience. Who cares how long it took?
It beats all those other games. Sherlock Holmes, Time Stories, all of them. This is my game now.